Gentlemen, most men are still too dependent on things and other people. And it's worth examining yourself and seeing where you might be too dependent, because sovereignty is the mark of manliness. And if we're too dependent on things or people, it keeps us from our potential and from our power. There's unbelievable amounts of power available to us if we will live with sovereignty. Now, don't misunderstand me here. This is not advocating the whole lone wolf game that many people play, because that's not sustainable, right? That, like that old proverb of you can go fast alone, but you can go far together. So the key then is finding this balance of a healthy interdependence, where we're not too independent, but we're also not too dependent. We have to declare our sovereignty in each important aspect of our lives and build that out strategically so that we're maximizing our potential and our power. For example, you don't need substances to be whoever you want to be. You don't need alcohol to have fun. You don't need alcohol to loosen up. You don't need, like the guys I worked with years ago, they literally could not start their day without massive amounts of caffeine. And so they created a dependence and a weakness. And so instead of just being your full self socially and just feeling loose and chill and engaged, having fun, you depend on a substance to do that. Or to start working and have energy and vitality and feel alive, you need some kind of substance to help you do that. But this goes through every aspect of life, right? So are you too dependent on other people for validation, for good feelings, for your confidence? And if people compliment you, then you feel good about yourself, and if they don't, you feel terrible about yourself. Or are you dependent on specific outcomes? Like if things go well today, yeah, you're having a great day. Everything's going great. You're successful. If things don't go well, if they don't work out, if there's obstacles or setbacks, or you make mistakes or have failures, then I'm a failure. I'm lost. Everything's out, right? And so we start becoming, getting into this unhealthy relationship with things and people and outcomes, and we become codependent or too dependent. So walk through every area of your life, and I had to do this, and I still do it all the time. And I went through this. It totally transformed every part of my life, because I was super dependent on people and things early on. I was so shy and so timid, so broke. And so I couldn't go into a social situation without somebody there to kind of be there to help me through it. I couldn't, I couldn't even really take care of myself early on. I was so dependent, even with an employer, right? You're dependent on somebody else making good decisions and running a business so that you can have an income. Ooh, what about the sovereignty there of having multiple streams of income that you are in charge of? Even with your investments, so many good men take all their hard-earned money and they just hand it over to someone else, hoping that that person takes care of their investments. And I promise you, nobody cares about your hard-earned money like you do. And nobody cares for your dreams like you do. And so go through your life physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, and financially, but start with physical. Are you too dependent on stuff or things? Like some of you are like, well, I eat that because I don't do the shopping and somebody else cooks and prepares. Well, whoa, back up right there. How can you take more control of your life? Not that you're demanding or controlling of others, but how can you be sovereign in the condition of your body? If your body's out of condition, what excuse have you been using? What unhealthy dependency has been keeping you there? And maybe there's an unhealthy relationship with food, that you use food to drown your sorrows, or use food as a form of celebration, or you have this kind of unhealthy emotional relationship with snacks or junk food or soda or garbage or alcohol or tobacco or drugs or whatever it is, right? There's that unhealthy dependence there. And so go through everything about your body and say, am I sovereign? Am I interdependent? And if something's off, examine your excuses. What's not working? Now do it mentally. Where are you mentally dependent? And mental emotional kind of goes together. Where are those dependencies, the codependencies, the unhealthy things? This comes up a ton, where we feel like we have to have the approval of other people, or we feel like we have to have the respect, or we feel like we have to have other people interpret things for us, or tell us how to think, or tell us what to learn, or guide us along in our mental emotional journey, or we're super dependent on everything going just right. And if people are off at all, then emotionally we lose it, right? There's a lot of good men that are like that if everything's just right, if their wife just does just the right thing, and the kids do just the right things, and people at work do just the right things, then everything's okay. But if they're off, boom, everything goes. That's a weakness. That's a dependency on other people and circumstances and situations and conditions and things being just right so that you're your best self. And my invitation here is to become more sovereign than that you're in control of it, regardless of what happens. You choose. You have that power to direct your life and live life on your terms, which is so powerful. So then go through and do that spiritually. Are you too dependent on other people to lead your spiritual life? Do it socially. How are your relationships? Are you too dependent on certain circumstances or things or substances or whatever, so that you can be your best self socially and build these relationships and lead out? And how about financially? Are you too dependent on one source of income, or for people to do your investments, or people to direct your life or control how much you can earn or spend? And so again, I'm not advocating the lone wolf, saying we are giving away or not even tapping into unbelievable amounts of power in our lives and potential if we will become more sovereign and more interdependent. And so we circle back. I think too many good men are still too dependent on stuff and things and people. So examine your life. Where are your dependencies? Some of you as grown men are literally still too dependent on your parents, either for advice or emotional support or mental or even financial. And there's all kinds of different examples, right? And I had to go through this whole journey on my own and literally go along and say, well, what are my dependencies, where it's not a healthy interdependency, it's just a dependency or a codependency. And it's not good. It's not healthy, and it's limiting me. And I had to rearrange all of that and re-engineer my whole life so that I could be a sovereign man. And the more sovereign we are, and the more interdependent we are in a healthy way, the more power we have to not only control or direct our lives, but become a great force for good in the world. Gentlemen, be the man.